Hey, that new Drive to Survive poster goes pretty hard. Got Alonso, Charles, Lewis in it. Premieres February 27th here in the U.S. on Netflix. Every year I get a month of Netflix just to enjoy, but this should be a good one. We got Lewis switching to Ferrari, all that drama. Horner getting fired. Championship comes down to the final race. I don't even think Netflix can screw this one up. I think there's just too much drama.
Look, I don't think they realized when they started Drive to Survive how easily they could make this show. And they don't need to add any additional drama. Everything that happens in F1 just, maybe it's scripted. Who knows? Maybe the sport is scripted.
This was a good one. All right, are you ready to go, son?
I'm ready to go.
Hello, welcome to Hard Compound, an American take on Formula One. No race this weekend. Testing soon. We'll be in Melbourne the start of the season in about a month, March 8th, I believe. 2 new teams, an 11th team, whole new series of regulations, and already rumors that Mercedes has completely violated the regulations and they're going to have a dominant power unit. Plus, we get increased spending cap. No rookies this year. But lots of promise. Now, Patrick, son, before we focus on F1 2026, it's time to take a look back at F1 2025, our annual Effy Awards. Nice. All right, the Effys, our celebration of the races, the racers, the teams, the tracks. The surprises, the heart-crushing moments, the joyous flashes from a sport that travels around the world. All right, son, as always, the show opening went on much too long, so let's get to it. Who do you have? Best driver, F1 2025. Who gets the best driver, Effy?
Best driver. Wow. Jumping right into it. I don't know if the Oscars work like that, but here we are. This is the Effys. The thing everybody wants to know, who is the best driver this year? Well, we've got several, I think, pretty good nominations, right? Obviously, Lando, driver champion. What more can you say about that? Beat out his teammate. A little come from behind action. Pretty good candidate. And we've got the man who's taken home this Effy in the last 3 years, Max.
Yep.
I mean, unreal this season. Probably, since this is a little bit hard to do any kind of research on, the greatest season by a non-champion ever.
Right. I mean, think in that car, he was down 104 points.
I mean, yeah, he had 93% of his team's points. And he beat out Ferrari by himself.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's ridiculous.
Right. A Ferrari with Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc. Damn.
And basically came down to the last lap of the last race. And frankly, if Kimi Antonelli hadn't screwed up in the previous race, Max might have won.
Right.
But, then we have some other good candidates, right? We've got guys like George Russell. Leclerc had a good season. I would even go so far as to maybe even throw Sainz up there. Just, for the amount of stuff he went through and then getting 2 podiums for Williams this season. Right. That's nothing to scoff at. But we can open the envelope here. And I am reading Max Verstappen as, once again, the winner of the best driver, Effy. I mean, just an incredible season. You can look back at everything that he did, all of his drives. I mean, by halfway through the season, it looked like he was nowhere, going to be way back. And, we even had conversations about, well, should he just sort of give up on the season? He's doing his fun races on the weekends in his GP cars, just getting his license. maybe he's going to jump to a different, motorsport series.
Like Michael Jordan going to baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he came back, stormed back, and very, very nearly snatched that World Driver Championship when there was no reason for him to be anywhere close.
It was amazing. I mean, this might have been his best season ever, and he did not win. He did not win the Drivers' Championship. I mean, McLaren's stupid papaya rules, anti-competitive papaya rules, helped him. But nonetheless, he shouldn't have even whiffed the championship. So I'm with you. And though they deserve to be nominated, I don't think the rest should have gotten an award. I had Lando, George, and Charles, similar to you. I did not have Carlos. All right, best team. I've got, for the nominees, McLaren, Racing Bulls. I don't know what I was thinking there. Oh, because it's team. You know, how they have to, given with what they have, what that's put together, and Williams, you can always nominate somebody else, but what do you got?
Yeah, I like that. I mean, McLaren definitely is pretty obvious they won everything. Racing Bulls, that's interesting. I mean, they had quite a bit of ups and downs and a couple of rookies on their team for basically the entire season. And,
Swap drivers, swap team
proved
principals,
themselves
right?
pretty well. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, halfway through the season, less than halfway through the season, Mekis moved up to Red Bull after the whole Horner ordeal, right? So Williams, I like, they came on strong and kind of, it was interesting. Albon sort of first half of the season was really quite impressive. And then second half of the season, it was more Carlos Sainz doing all the work. I will put in another sort of bottom feeder that I thought was more impressive than I expected them to be. I'm going to throw in Haas.
Oh.
I think they actually acquitted themselves quite well. Ollie Behrman did a great job this season. We got some really solid finishes from them. They looked like a team that actually belonged in F1. Like they weren't just middling around. So that was quite nice to see.
And it's funny because I think actually you're right. Haas deserves to get nominated. I think their weakest link was Ocon, a veteran driver who I think, he got booted from Alpine. I don't know if he lasts beyond 2026. I mean, I just am not seeing anything from him. And I thought Behrman jumped in and did better.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But, that said, I think naturally this has to go to the team that just swept everything, dominated basically the entire season in McLaren. Frankly, there was no reason for them to be basically twice as good as every other team on the grid.
Yeah, I mean, that was a surprise.
What the hell are Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes doing if they can't? Right. They can't be half as good as McLaren. I mean,
no one is spending more money than Mercedes, and it's their power unit. Okay, a rookie Kimi, but George is a solid driver, and yeah, it was more than double, right? I mean, it was close. I think it was close.
It was close, yeah.
Close. It's like, how does that happen? That was, so McLaren did something right. So, all right. Okay, so yay for McLaren. I agree with that one. Best rookie. We talked about Ollie Behrman. So we've got Hajar, Kimi Antonelli, Ollie Behrman. We got Bortoleto. Those are our nominees.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. I think, the only other rookie there technically this year was Lawson, and he was fine. I think got a little bit undermined by his first couple of races there at Red Bull.
And Doohan. I mean, he...
And, I guess Doohan and Colapinto too. But Alpine is just so shamefully embarrassing that it's tough to consider.
They did not get nominated.
Yeah. But yeah, those four, Hajar, Antonelli, Behrman, and Bortoleto, I think at different points in the season, different races, all of them really proved that they had talent, that they had speed, did some really good things. I really, think that Behrman proved he was actually better than his teammate Ocon, like you had mentioned. So I think that puts him up there in contention. Antonelli, off and on. but you can kind of see if he just continues to grow and improve, he'll be a very solid driver at Mercedes. I think the most consistent, though, and the driver I'm going to give this award to was Isaac Hadjar. Aside from literally the formation lap of the very first race of this season, every other thing he did during the season was quite good. And, definitely looked like he belonged and should have the seat that he does now, pretty much. So
Yeah, I wanted to give this to Ollie Behrman, but I think you're right. It belongs to Isaac Hadjar. All right, speaking of Isaac Hadjar, I'll do this one. Best cry in F1. I've got Isaac spinning out in the formation lap, crashing a car. His first moment in F1. How do you recover from that and get his bawling? And then I've got at the end Lando winning the World Drivers' Championship and his mom out there and all that stuff. So I'm going to make this one, and I'm going to go with best cry, Lando. Because we saw all of it, was just Isaac was just kind of weeping in his helmet for minutes on end. So, all right, we're going to go with Lando for best cry. Best demotion. Now, our nominees are Yuki, now going to be a reserve driver. He got demoted at the end of the season. Liam, during the season, got demoted from Red Bull to Racing Bulls, which may have been a good thing for him. I don't have any other nominees for this, do you?
I mean, we just mentioned Doohan. I gotta say, dude, he wasn't even really demoted. He was just kicked the hell out because Alpine decided they were going to sign another rookie that had no business being there.
Right. He also had no business being there. Less personality. Maybe some more sponsor money, though. So, and I'm not even sure about that. It's just another inexplicable Alpine decision. So, who do you have? Who wins best demotion?
Best demotion? Boy, I think this is a tough one because for me, it's kind of between Liam and Jack Doohan because they didn't even get a fair shot.
Right.
So to me, that's like the best demotion because you just go in and you're all happy to be there, and then immediately you get kicked to the curb.
Right.
Yuki at least is like, well, you've had years at Racing Bulls, and then you get basically an entire season at Red Bull and didn't do anything. So, it's fair. It's deserved.
True. But it's interesting because Liam, I think, is better off at Racing Bulls than Red Bull, so that worked in his favor. Doohan is now a reserve driver for who? Is it Haas? I think he's a reserve driver for Haas. And really, that's probably best for him. I'm not sure he should be out there on a weekly basis. So
yeah, I mean, it's fair. They may have worked better or more in those drivers' favors. But I think because it happened so soon into the season, because he was basically put in the seat over somebody else who should have already been there, I'm going to give this to Liam.
Nice.
For best demotion. He was named the Red Bull driver for the start of this season over Yuki, and realistically, everyone realized like, oh yeah, Yuki is just not good enough to have that seat. So they put Liam in there. And then 2 races in, they went, you know what? Nah, never mind. We'll put Yuki in there. What are you doing, Red Bull? That's so stupid.
Yep. Oh, well. Okay, your favorite moment. Now, we have to keep this F1 because, I don't know, my favorite moment of the year in racing might have been Kubica. Did he win Le Mans in 2025? I think he did. Old man Kubica. That might have been my favorite moment. So, but we're keeping on F1. So the nominees, Nico getting on the podium at last. 239th race, he made it onto the podium. You mentioned this earlier. Sainz. Sainz got booted out of Ferrari. All the ladies loved Carlos Sainz, and that did not help him. He still got booted out, and he had a tough time finding a seat. Finally had to go to lowly Williams. Boom. Lewis Hamilton gets nothing at Ferrari. Carlos Sainz at Williams, 2 podiums, in fact. Love it. And then it's not a single race or single moment, but Lando's championship run, the second half of the season, was our favorite moment. I'm kind of playing a little fast and loose here.
Yeah, I mean, all of those are quite good nominees. I think probably the single most exciting moment that pretty much all F1 fans loved was Hulk getting his first podium.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to say that was probably, at the very least, the most loved moment of the F1 season.
Right. I mean, there were a few hardcore Lewis fanatics who were like, "Oh man, Lewis didn't get on the podium at Silverstone." I'm like, "Shut the hell up!" He almost prevented Hulk from making it.
So I think that's gonna be. I think that'll be sort of in most people's memories as easily like the best moment of the season. So
awesome. Here's a big one. Worst driver.
Oof.
Now, my nominees include Lance Stroll, Franco Colapinto, and Jack Doohan. I do not have Esteban Ocon on there, but the nominees are still open. There's still time to get your nominations in. But I have Lance Stroll, Franco Colapinto, and Jack Doohan.
Oh boy. Let's see. Lance Stroll.
And surprise, none of them are showing up to accept this award.
The only other nominee that I'll put in there, and feel maybe a little bit bad about this, I'm putting in Yuki. Lowly Yuki.
Yeah.
I mean, he wanted that Red Bull seat so bad. So bad, he got so upset when Liam Lawson was given the seat. And then, oh, there you go, Yuki. Couple races into the season, here you go. It's your seat now. You're welcome. And then he proceeded to score like 9 points or something like that throughout the rest of the season.
That was brutal.
I mean, oof.
Yeah, that was brutal.
So this is a tough one. We're gonna have to go with Colapinto on this one. I think. I mean, not only did he steal somebody else's seat for no good reason, he then proceeded to score 0 points, never even whiff the points. And, it was a terrible team. It was a terrible team. But guess what? Pierre Gasly scored like 20-some points or whatever it was.
I think that's a good one because Colapinto got brought in and still did nothing. So, all right. Worst driver. Yeah, Franco Colapinto. Worst team. Here are the nominees. Kick Sauber. I do want to kick Sauber. Yeah, even the name is horrible. They've just been so bad for so long. They're gone now, but Alpine. I mean, Alpine, do the newer fans know that that's Renault? Do they know the history of Renault and Formula One? I mean, this is just, this is just horrible. And then our surprise nominee, Ferrari. Ferrari has Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, and it's Ferrari. And they basically, outside of the marketing stuff, were a non-factor. I mean, just nothing. They came in China 5th and 6th, and then they were double disqualified for being, I think it was overweight or was it, yeah. And like, you can't even cheat. Even when it's Ferrari and it's cheating, you still don't even, you're 5th and 6th. Oh, big, So I have to nominate Ferrari as worst team. So Ferrari, Alpine, and Kick Sauber.
Yeah, well, those are fair nominees, I think. All of them proved to be a frustrating watch, I think, this season. I mean, Ferrari should have been within touching distance of the top as they were last year. Lewis Hamilton didn't even get on the podium a single time. Leclerc only, 2 this season? I mean, look, that is not good enough for Ferrari.
And it's not like they have Ocon and Colapinto driving for them.
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, that's tough. You got two very good drivers. One of them will inevitably, once he retires, be considered among the greatest of all time. Already is, I guess. And yeah, it's a tough look for Ferrari. They looked nowhere this whole season. Sauber, I mean, I don't know if anybody expected much from them. And I think there were a few moments throughout the season where we went, oh, wow, good job. Obviously, the Hulk
right.
podium, Bortoletto a couple of times. Well, oh, wow, he's pretty, he was pretty good. So I think they were not a good team, but better than Alpine. Alpine, I think, is the clear winner here.
Oof.
Because of inner team strife, turmoil, terrible on track performance, just an embarrassment in basically every way. So, they've basically been selling off bits and pieces of the team for several years now to different investment groups. So I don't even know really who the fuck owns the team anymore. And we'll
Maybe
see.
soon.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the future. But this year, this was easily the worst team, as shown by, the final constructor standings. Pierre Gasly was the lone bright spot. And by bright, I mean a dim flicker.
Right.
So this was, I think by a long shot, Alpine wins this award for worst team of the 2025 season.
I give it to you, man. Poor Pierre Gasly. You think it's like he's one of those guys that's like in the NFL that would be like an offensive lineman on a bad team with no quarterback, no running back. He's just getting his ass beat every game, every week, for no reason. To take the paycheck, but that's it. Like, dear Lord, can I get on a good team? All right, best race, or I should say favorite race. I've got two nominees here. Montreal, George and Kimi both get on the podium. It was a fun race. Lando hits his teammate. And then Silverstone, that's always fun. Lando Britt got the home win. Hulk made it on the podium. Lewis somehow getting that garbage car. I think it was in the fourth. And then I think soon after, Horner gets fired. So all that was fun. Those are my nominees for favorite race.
All right. Well, here's two more.
Ooh.
Late season race, Brazil. We had plenty of battles, plenty of craziness. Bortoletto, first ever home race in F1, first lap crash with Lance Stroll. Right, just utter shame and frustration.
Right. Yes, I remember now. Yes,
we had Behrman and Hülkenberg battling constantly. Piastri, in his dire attempts to stop Lando from winning this drivers' championship. Piastri knows he let it slip through his fingers. He takes out Antonelli and Leclerc in turn 3, maybe, after basically he fell behind Lando at the start. We had Lawson, Kimi, and Max all battling with each other, hitting each other, taking each other out.
Right, and I think Max started in pit, something like that.
He did, yeah. I mean, and then he stormed all the way back into the podium positions. I mean, just an incredible drive from him to keep within touching distance of that drivers' championship. That was just lots of crazy things happening in that race. And because it's so late on in the season, quite meaningful. And then I've got Baku, the first Sainz podium of the season.
Yeah.
Max, George, and Carlos on the podium there.
Right. And then McLaren's. Oh, no, it was Oscar Piastri. Yes, because I actually have something about him. Yep.
Yeah, just crashed on lap 1. I mean, I don't know what he was doing at the start. I fell all the way back at the start, trying to make it up, and just went straight off and crashed.
Those are good ones.
We had both Mercedes drivers fighting each other. We had Lawson and Tsunoda battling each other and keeping Lando behind them so that he couldn't storm up to take a podium off of Carlos Sainz. And we had 3 of the 4 Red Bulls, 2 Red Bulls and a Racing Bulls, or I forget, but 3 of them were in the top 6 of this race. Baku, always fun, always crazy. So those are my 2 nominees.
Nice. So who do you got, since you've made the case, who do you have this winning this?
I think the most kind of chaotic and exciting race with a weird podium, I guess, I'm going to go with Baku.
Nice.
I think that was one of the fun ones.
Awesome. That was a surprise win. That's a surprise win. That was like when that British movie where the old guys were just running around, beat out Reds in the Oscars way back in the day. Do you have a favorite drive? Like, I would nominate, for me, Ollie Behrman getting P4 for Haas. That was in Mexico. Lando, like I said, I mentioned this earlier, hitting his teammate in Montreal. That was one of my fun. Max in Brazil, the pit lane start, made it to P3. As you mentioned before, I'm like, hey, somehow he is still in this now. How is that possible? It's Brazil, late season, in that bad car, pit lane start. I don't know. I think those are my nominees for that one.
Nice. I would also nominate George Russell in Singapore. Just absolutely dominating that race, just basically obliterating the field. Nobody came close. And I think that sort of solidified his just sort of overall dominance or control of the Mercedes team. So I thought that was great. And then maybe a little bit of a surprise, but I will go with Charles Leclerc in Monaco.
Yeah, that's always
home
nice.
Race, crazy, and Ferrari was just not very fast. But Leclerc was very fast and almost for, I think, second season in a row, he came very close to winning that race just behind Lando. Lando had to do everything in his power, basically, to hold off Leclerc. And, I mean, that was one of the better podiums of the season, I think. So,
yep. Yeah,
I think those are all good nominees. And I don't know if we even mentioned Hulk's podium, but that was another great one.
No.
For this particular award, I think my favorite performance was Ollie Behrman in Mexico in that Haas. Best ever finish for Haas and best ever finish for Ollie.
So. Awesome. That's a good one. I'm glad we did that one. Most embarrassing performance. Now, we've already touched on these. Oscar in Baku. I mean, crashed out in qualifying. It's the one race. Hadjar formation lap in Melbourne. Those are the 2 main. And then surprise nominee. This somewhat skirts the rules. Joshua Pierce, the old man, gets bested by. Joshua Pierce beats the old man, Sonny Hayes, in F1 the movie. So that would be embarrassing for Sonny Hayes. But the way they worked it was kind of like, I don't know. Did you let him? I don't know. So those are my 3 nominees.
Yeah, well, the F1 movie is a little confusing.
So I am confusing it. So it was, what was his name? Joshua Pierce was bested by Sonny Hayes. That's right. Never just, did he walk down and got a seat? Forget super license plate.
He was like a 45-year-old man, supposedly.
Right.
That, yeah, he hasn't raced in Formula One in decades.
Right.
Basically has a bad back, and he just kind of waltzes in there. And, I mean, to be fair, it wasn't only Joshua Pierce that got bested by this one man. It was literally true. The entire fucking grid was true. Just embarrassed by this guy.
It's funny because I've seen the movie now twice, but it's just so ridiculous that I always get confused. I'm like, wait, what is he doing? Wait, like it's like just forget the rules. And it's funny because they bypass the rules only enough to just sort of like bug you. Like, I guess you could, but it's never happening. That's never
Yeah.
happening.
Well, it's just like, you mentioned Kubica earlier. It's like if Kubica in 15 years came back
Right.
to race in Formula One and then beat the shit out of everybody.
Right.
Go, oh my God, that's incredible. Wow, what a talent. And you're like, well, this is stupid. This is never going to happen. What are you talking about?
This is true. Right. So, because I just the whole movie, he just sort of waltzes in, and so I'm always confused because I try to apply F1 rules to it, and I know it's Hollywood, but some of it is just like, well, this is just like, I'm like, okay, let's say I didn't know anything about F1. Like, does anybody think, well, this is weird? He's way older than him, and he hasn't driven in this for years, and they have no money, and also he just somehow keeps crashing. But they're able to rebuild the car, and he somehow wins it. And like, I don't even know how any of this happens. I think it was taking maybe Sergio's victory from years ago. But anyway, that's funny. All right, so most embarrassing performance: Joshua Pierce and the whole rest of the F1 field loses to Sonny Hayes. Oscar's performance in Baku and Hadjar's performance in Melbourne. Most embarrassing.
Oh boy. You know what? I'm going to add another one to this list because you already mentioned it. And it's not a driver, it's a team. The double disqualification in China by Ferrari.
Right.
Because how embarrassing is that?
Right.
I mean, obviously, what was it? Vegas, where McLaren had a double disqualification as well.
Yep.
But they had already wrapped everything up. I mean, not the Drivers' Championship at that point, but like realistically, they weren't too worried about anything. Ferrari was garbage and didn't race particularly well in that race and then still got disqualified. So quite a disappointment for them. All that said, I gotta say, maybe the most embarrassing performance I'll give to Hadjar. Formation lap race 1.
It was, yes.
And just goes off, crashes, gets out of the car, cries for like 10, 15 minutes. I mean, the kid, that was a tough start to the season.
And I know it's like, if it happened like his third race, no, his formation lap of the first race.
He didn't even start the first race.
Yeah, my goodness. Yeah. How you come back from that that's something. All right. Switching to the soft compound, biggest failure of the year. My nominees. This is a good one. This is going to be controversial. Red Bull number 2 driver, that would be Yuki Erlin. Ferrari, it's Ferrari. They were basically relevant. Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari. Ooh. And then Jack Doohan, getting booted out of F1 temporarily. And Liam Lawson. Those are my nominees.
All right.
I'll let you pick the winner there.
That's good. Biggest failure of the year. We were so close to having Lando on this list, but we don't. I mean, this is a tough one, and I think it's between the two Ferrari parts that you mentioned. Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari, or just Ferrari as a whole. And because I want to give Lewis the benefit of the doubt, I'm going to go with Ferrari as a whole. It was the biggest failure of the year. I mean, they got beat by Max alone. And then obviously came in third or in fourth in the Constructors' Championship. I mean, they regressed by quite a lot.
Right. The final year of the regulations, they regressed that much. I would have, but only because I'm cheating and incorporating potential future information into this. I would have gone with Lewis because it's like, I don't know, what if Ferrari, they started these new regulations, does once again have a dominant power unit? I mean, Lewis left that behind. Damn. Oof. All right. I kind of agree with you, Ferrari. Saddest goodbye. And that one, I think, is never truly a goodbye because some of these folks are still around or might be. But my nominees are Yuki, Helmut Marko, and Christian Horner, all connected to Red Bull.
Oh, yeah. Saddest goodbye. You're not going to put ESPN on there?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. So in the U.S., we no longer will have ESPN. Just rebroadcasting the Sky Sports coverage. And then there are 23 hours of sports news every day. And there's like 4 seconds of F1 news in there. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not a sad goodbye. It's more like a goodbye.
Honestly, I am not sure that I'm particularly saddened by any of these. Although I think the implication of the Horner firing is a little bit sad, and that he was sort of the last, well, him and Helmut maybe, the last sort of pillars of the old F1, if you will. That was just like a fun kind of gritty, pick yourself up by the bootstraps sort of sport, and not like the corporate, powerful, like money hungry, growth centered sort of sport endeavor that it is now.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point.
So for me, not that I'm necessarily sad about him leaving or Helmut leaving or whatever, but I think, yeah, the implication of it and the sort of nature of the sport has changed. I think that is maybe a little bit sad to see go.
I mean, here we have Cadillac dropping $500 million just for the seat at the table.
Yeah.
You know, Horner is there where it's like, hey, Red Bull guy, he's like, hey, let's buy the Ford is selling its Jaguar team for $1. We'll figure out how to get a wind tunnel. We'll figure out how to get an engine. We'll figure out how to put a team together. We'll figure out how to get a bunch of badass lads together and build a car. And boom, it paid off. Yeah, those days are gone. So that's a great point. Our Dirty Air segment. Dumbest move. Ferrari paying Lewis $100 million a year approximately, and then he trash talks the team all year, doesn't make a podium. Real smart business move there, Ferrari. Another dumb move nominee. Lewis leaving Mercedes for Ferrari. A little bit more money, a little bit less work, less PR work, but Mercedes and Lewis, they should be, Red Bull firing Horner. I don't know. Mekis did kind of turn it around. I don't want to say turned it around. They didn't win anything, but mine got better. And then another Ferrari nominee. Ferrari not firing Fred Vasseur.
Oof.
So those are pretty much all my nominees.
Oof. Dumbest move. Well, yeah, I mean, it's got to be something to do with Ferrari, because obviously Ferrari is sort of, the big club. They're the team that everybody talks about. They're the golden standard, basically, in F1. And man, they were bad. They were bad this year. And there were a lot of reasons, I think, that they were bad. And, Lewis has been sort of the gold standard in F1 as a driver for the last, 15 years, basically. And he was supposed to come in and I'm not sure that anybody necessarily expected him to win a championship or anything like that in the first year, but I think they certainly expected better on-track performance and definitely did not anticipate him just trashing the team as consistently as he did.
Right.
I think the expectation was for him to come in and be that brand ambassador and sell Ferrari as this incredible, fashionable, striking, like Italian team. And he did not. So I think they gotta work on that internally with their team. But for now, because Mercedes wasn't that great either this year, to be fair. Maybe next year, who's to say? But I'm gonna go with Ferrari bringing in Lewis, paying him an absolute ton of money, and then having, your newest brand ambassador basically dump on your team for most of this season. Yeah, that one seems pretty dumb right now. So
How about best surprise? This was a good season, F1 2025. And there were a lot of good surprises, some bad surprises. I mean, Horner getting fired was a surprise, but there was some writing on the wall there. Liam getting demoted after 2 races, bit of a surprise, but this is Red Bull. Newey to Aston Martin. News broke during the season, I believe. That was a big surprise. My formal nominees, though, for biggest surprise. How good the rookies were overall. I mean, Doom got a job. Cole Pinto didn't do anything, but overall, the rookies in F1, you bypass a few moments like Hadjar, Melbourne that we talked about. They were good. Abu Dhabi, end of the season. There's still technically 3 drivers who could win the championship. I mean, for me, those were the 2 big, good, surprising stories. There were so many rookies. Like in 2026, there's no rookies. Oh, no, you're right, for Racing Bulls. Yep. But, all these rookies, and then the championship coming down to the final race, and there's actually 3, in theory, could win it.
Yeah, those are good. I think there were quite a few, good surprises, like, the Hulk podium. Always a surprise, but fun.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You could say Sainz getting more podiums than Lewis. Pretty big surprise.
How did I not nominate that? And, yes, of course.
And you could say that was a good surprise or a bad surprise, depending on your perspective. But it was quite surprising. I think nobody would have anticipated that.
Yeah, I mean, Carlos getting 2 podiums with Williams is a surprise. Him getting booted from Ferrari so Lewis Hamilton can have that seat, and getting the 2 podiums with Williams, and Lewis getting nothing. You're right. That belongs up here.
Yeah, there's a lot more for sure, but I would say those are the podium kind of finishers this season. I think that's quite surprising. Of all of those, I mean, I think it's tough because I think all of that is a lot of fun. And I think potentially the best surprise and what kept people most intrigued throughout the season was the fact that 3 drivers were in contention at the end of the season. And depending on, what happened in that last race, and, anything can happen, I think a lot of drivers were quite nice and overly compliant in that race. But the fact that any one of those 3 could have come away with the Drivers' Championship at the end of that race was very cool. I think was one of the big reasons why the season as a whole was interesting to many, many people. So that's my winner.
No, I agree. Best surprise. We came down to the final race, and there were 3 drivers who could have won. All right, that wraps up this year's Effys. We're looking forward to the first race of 2026 in Melbourne on March 8th. Any crazy predictions, Patrick?
Any crazy predictions
for this upcoming season?
Well, here's my outrageous predictions. I'm going to say Antonelli finishes above George.
Wow.
And McLaren finishes P4.
Ooh, those are both big ones. Those are both good ones, Patrick. Antonelli finishes ahead of his teammate George Russell. Wow, that would be something. And McLaren down to P4. Oof. Mine will be that second seat at Red Bull. That's like dead man walking. But not this year, not in 2026. Isaac Hadjar flourishes. Doesn't beat out Max, but he does very well. He's too good. He's too young to know any better. It's a new car, new rules. This is not Ricardo or Yuki or Liam or Albon. I think it's a whole new world. And Isaac Hadjar at Red Bull will flourish. All right. I want to thank you all for listening to everybody's most beloved Father and Son F1 podcast. It is much appreciated. We are lights out.
See ya. Thanks for listening.
All right, that was a good show, son. And I have an idea for a second show. Mostly might just be me talking. If you're up for it, give me a few minutes, all right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, see you around.
All righty.
You just finished listening to Hard Compound, recorded in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and around the world.